Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, HBRV Lifestyle, and this is your Honey Badger here. And today I'm going to go over something that I get a lot of questions about, which is how do you get an interest rate at 0% in the RV business? Does 0% interest actually exist? How come cars have 0%? I get a lot of those questions, and I decided today I'm going to give you an answer to them. I'm going to do it on the whiteboard. So let's get started. I want to go over just a couple of basics before I show you the 0%. And that is there's three things that affect an interest rate on an RV loan. Number one and foremost is the down payment percentage. Usually you're going to get your best interest rate when you're putting between 25 and 30% cash down or trade, however that works, on the next coach. Number two is the amount financed. So you're going to get a better interest rate at $200,000 than you are at $20,000. And the third thing that affects an interest rate in the RV business is your FICO score. So let me show you how or why something less than a baseline exists. So for this practice, to show you how you get to 0% in a RV, let's say that the baseline for an interest rate is 15% cash down and 6% as your APR. That's a baseline, okay? That's going to be mid-tier to upper-tier credit. Now, this is another important item to understand how you get to 0% in a car. So a car has rebates, factory cash, shorter terms. RVs have none of that. It's just a straight transaction. There's no factory assistance. So to understand this concept, let's look at a car or truck when they're advertising it. So let's use Toyota. Toyota is advertising the Camry. They have rebates and factory cash or 0% financing for 60 months. Here's the reason why. They take the rebate and factory cash and they buy down the national rate of 3 1/4. So 3.24, that is the baseline rate for a car, and they buy it down to 0%. So you lose all the factory cash to maintain that 0%. So with an RV, you have to buy down the rate using profit from the deal. So you can't simply go, I want to pay the bank to buy it down. The dealership has to, using profit from the transaction. So in most cases, you're going to have 30% cash down payment in most states. 20% on the unit, 10% tax and license. Of course, that'll be adjusted because it'll be higher in Los Angeles than it will be in Arizona. It'll be higher in Washington State than it will be in Montana, so on and so forth. You also must be a Tier 1, which in this business is an 800 plus FICO score when the bank runs you, or Tier 2, which is 780 to 799. So now, let me show you how the math works. If you have any questions about the math that I'm going to go over, please just leave me a message in the comments section, and or you can contact me directly on the social media platforms. Those links are in the description box below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see future videos like this one. As you know, I am the Honey Badger, and I am here to help you give it straight in the RV business. So the math. So we're going to go back to that 6% as a baseline, okay? So let's say you were buying a loan that was $100,000. So let's say it's a $100,000 RV loan, okay? For every 1/4% that you buy down the rate, it costs you have to pay the bank, or the dealer has to pay the bank 1% of the amount financed or the amount of the loan, okay? So if we do the math, at a 1/4% times 4 will equal 1% of the loan. That is 4% of the loan amount, which is $4,000. Now, if we want to buy that down to 0, then the dealership must stroke a check to the bank for $24,000. Let me let that sink in for a minute. So at the end of the day, it's going to cost $24,000 in profit to go from 6% down to 0. What I want to do real quickly is just give you kind of an example of somebody that's working a deal at the desk. Okay, so if I'm working a deal right now, and let's say the bank gives me a rate of 4.99, but you want 2.99, so they have to buy it down 2%. You break that down, 0.25 times 4 equals 4% of the amount financed. We got to buy it down 2%. That means 8% of the loan amount. So you struggling for a 2.99 rate don't realize that there's no profit in the deal to do it. It just doesn't exist, right? At least right now it doesn't. Remember, the bank pays the dealership a kickback to give them the loan. So let me explain how that works real quick. I've explained it in other videos, but let me explain it real quick, okay? So, this is where folks get confused. Let's say you got them to a discount, you worked the hell out of this price, and you got a $50,000 loan, right? Generally, a bank is going to give them about 4% of that. Okay, 4% of, that's going to be $2,000. You do 10 of those deals a month, that's $20,000. That right there pays the rent. That's why they don't buy rates down. That's the reason why the RV business does not have subventive rates. There is no 1.9. Nope, not there. There is no 0. Nope. Sorry, not there. There's not 0.09%. I've heard all kinds of things from cars. None of that exists in the RV business because of this amount. This amount right here. Okay. Now, in the car business, they get paid a smaller flat because they're shorter loans, right? So if I'm going to, let's say, GMC pays $150 for every car loan they get. Okay? Bank of America, as an example, in a car, pays between 1 and 2% of the amount financed as a flat. So in the average car is going to make about $200 every time a bank grabs a loan. So it takes more cars to get to 20 grand than it does RVs. Okay.